If you've never heard of the, quote, creator economy, there's a good chance you've been influenced by it. The creator economy represents the growing industries behind social media influencers, or anyone who creates and monetizes content online, from fashion bloggers to live streaming gamers and everyone in between. About 50 million people worldwide consider themselves creators, and the industry is estimated to generate billions of dollars annually. And joining us now with more are Lori Buckle, CEO and founder of Cook It Media, an influencer marketing agency specializing in food and lifestyle content creation, and Matt Kirschner, the executive vice president and partner of celebrity relations at Talent Resources. That's a marketing agency specializing in creator and influencer-based campaigns. Welcome both of you to Chicago Tonight.
Thank you for having us.
All right, so Lori Buckle, I'll start with you. We kind of gave the definition. What exactly is a creator in this context, and what is the creator economy?
Oh my goodness. A creator is an amazing, talented person who basically lives in the social space and creates content for her audience effectively. It's a rising industry. It's new the way we look at it. It's changing all the time, but it is really changing the way we think about advertising and marketing.
And you both work in advertising and marketing. So Matt Kirschner, can you talk about the spectrum of quote unquote creators that you work with and what kinds of fields that they're influencers in?
Yeah, absolutely. So really, to go off of Lori's previous point, at this time, almost anybody could be an influencer. And so we're working with everybody from your smaller based influencers, your quote unquote nano influencers, all the way up to your Academy Award winners and your more traditional celebrities. So there are these different verticals from blogger, influencer, content specialist, so a photographer, a videographer, as Lori knows, chefs and culinary specialists. So really, we work with pretty much everybody because as brokers, we have access to just about everyone under the sun. And it's really just a matter of who fits for the right demographic, for the right opportunity with our brands and with the campaigns that they're trying to produce and implement.
And Lori, so as Matt mentioned, you work with a lot of chefs with Cook It Media, a lot of folks that are either streaming YouTube or Instagram or other social media things related to cooking. And recent surveys cited that more than 50 million people worldwide classify themselves as creators, although the vast majority of them consider themselves amateurs. So what does it take to be a professional, and how much money can someone make doing this?
Oh, these are such good questions. So an influencer is really a person who, especially on the business side, the influencer marketing side that we do, she's an individual. Most often she is a she. There's definitely some great guys out there too. But she's really decided that this is her business, and she is content creator. And she creates content for her audience. And when her audience aligns with a brand's target consumer, that's an opportunity for a partnership. And really what we do is that we find that path for a brand through this kind of maze of influencer marketing and all the ways that they can benefit from a partnership with an influencer. I'm not sure if that completely answers your question, but it is
Sure.
It's a really interesting business. Like Matt said, I mean, these people range in size from 1,000 followers to over 1 million followers. And obviously what they can earn in the process obviously comes along with that.
So Matt Kirschner, in the marketing field, you know, companies for their ads, they want to hire celebrities from Hollywood or they want to hire athletes. Are these social media influencers sort of the new celebrities and athletes? I mean, are they as lucrative or as in demand as athletes or celebrities have been?
Oh, absolutely. And they've been that way for a while. I think to a certain extent, these new celebrities, these new influencers are bigger than some of your traditional celebrities and actors and musicians and athletes to your point. These people have developed a cult following of millions upon millions of engaged followers, people that want to see what they're doing on a daily basis. They haven't supplanted or taken over necessarily, but you look at films, just look at He's All That, the remake of She's All That. It's been built up from content creators like an Addison Rae. So someone with her following and her ability to engage people gave the studio the confidence to greenlight an entire film just based around that. You're seeing a whole different world of marketing and a whole different world of sort of understanding who can hit a different demographic and target.
All right, so Lori, as you and Matt represent a lot of these influencers, at least in the political space, you know, you can have a problem here with misinformation, folks that propagate things like the QAnon conspiracy theory on YouTube and all that. So Lori, how do you ensure that folks become famous and get a lot of followers, but aren't just spewing a bunch of nonsense and are legit?
That's really an excellent question. We spend a lot of time doing that. We have a couple of different networks that we work with. We are constantly in the process of vetting individuals, making sure that they are who they say they are, that they haven't purchased any followers, that they really are in this for the authenticity of what they do. There's a lot of information, there's a lot of technology in the background that enables us to see a lot of things within an influencer's platform. So it's just one of those things that we're always watching out for, because, you know, from my perspective, if you're a brand, you're coming to a pretty foreign world over here, and you need to feel very confident about your results and about sort of all of those things that, you know, I think you're right, people have been worried about that, and we really work hard to ensure that that doesn't happen.
All right, Matt, we only have a few seconds here, but is there a special sauce here for a successful creator? Just some special thing that they have that they garner 1 million followers? I bet everyone wants to know that formula.
I wish I could give it to you. Unfortunately, there's really no one size fits all. The secret to virality is being in the right place at the right time. These people are studying the algorithms of every single platform. They're looking at the different content that's making a dent in the viewership, and they're really becoming experts in each different platform to measure the algorithms and seeing what can pop off at any different time.
All right. Well, interesting industry, interesting subject. That's all the time we have for this right now. Lori Buckle and Matt Kirshner, thank you so much.
Of course, thank you.